Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Positive Girl podcast with me, Sabrina. This is the show that'll help you become your best self, and today we are talking about you'll annoy people, and that's okay. Emotional growth behaviors. But before we jump into that, as always, I want to invite you to come say hi to me on social media. I am at Sabrina Joy Perozzo on both TikTok and Instagram. So please come by and let's become friends online and say hi. You're also welcome to send me an email at realpositivegirlpodcast@gmail.com. All of that information that I've just said right now is available for you in the show notes below. But yeah, send me an email with any questions, comments, concerns, prayer requests, feedback, topic suggestions, anything that you would like to share with me or want me to know, or you have questions. I am here for you. If you look down the show notes below, you'll also see that you can sign up for my weekly newsletter that goes out on Wednesday evenings, usually around 6 or 7, where I tell you any updates that are happening. Also, if you are listening while this episode is out, which is November of 2022, then you will notice if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll also be getting recommendations for items for gift ideas. And there's also I'm also providing a link for my favorite things that I like on Amazon right now that I love Amazon. I love it. It's one of my favorite places to shop outside of Target and Walmart actually. So anyway, so those are the kind of, and then usually deeper, quick conversations, articles, I guess you could say, about things that I learned in therapy or random thoughts that I had that I feel would be helpful and beneficial and a good piece of knowledge to share to you guys. So that is what to expect in the weekly newsletter. Also, there is a link, shameless plug, to purchase the planner journal hybrid called Emotions Every Day. So whether you want to purchase it for yourself or as a gift for someone else, it's $32 plus $4 shipping. I ship next business day. Would be a great gift, or just something to help you. It's a very guided journal that also has a small section for planning if you're new to this show and you don't know what I'm talking about. And it is a 3-month planner journal for you to plan your day every day, but also work on emotional growth in a very guided way with quick questions. So it's efficient, it's quick, but it's also helpful. Go ahead and check out anything else that's down there in the show notes, but let's just get on with the show. Again, today we are talking about you'll annoy people, and that's okay. Emotional growth behaviors. So as a people pleaser, as I am a recovering, what I like to say is a recovering people pleaser. Annoying people is always at the bottom of the list, right? It's at the bottom. It probably didn't even make the list, but if it had to be on a spot on the list, it'd be at the bottom because it basically goes against, I would say, the code of ethics for people pleasers to annoy people. You can't please people when you are annoying them. It just doesn't go together. Think about it. It's clear. So if you are a people pleaser, like I was, and again, am still recovering from, sometimes fall into that, that's okay. Pick myself back up as you would too. What I'm going to suggest in this episode might be difficult for you, i.e. the title of talking about annoying people and how that is actually okay. So today, just to be even more crystal clear on what this episode is actually about, today I want to talk about how exhibiting mental and emotional growth is going to annoy some people. It's going to annoy some people, right? It's basically if you are growing and becoming your best self every day and changing, that is going to annoy some people, okay? A prime example of what I'm talking about is I was a people pleaser, hardcore, passionate. It was my identity, sadly. I was a people pleaser all growing up. And so I met my then boyfriend, now husband, in college, and I was a super people pleaser. However, in the last 5 years, I have been growing and becoming stronger and leaning away from being a people pleaser, right? And I would say within this actually last 6 months to a year, it's been really pulling away from it and, not really allowing that to be my identity, to, hold me captive, those kind of things. But it was a little bit difficult for my husband in the beginning because, again, he was used to me being a people pleaser this whole time, and that's not why we're together. It's just who I kind of was, right? To be honest. And now that I'm not, it's kind of a surprise, right? It's a change. And I was exhibiting this growth that kind of sometimes feels like it comes out of nowhere despite how close you are or how connected you are to someone, whether it's romantic or a friendly relationship or even a work relationship. All of a sudden you start exhibiting these growth mindsets and behaviors, and it's oh wow, okay, you're a different person. And that kind of like happened in our marriage. And it's actually been a good thing for both of us. We're both growing and changing, becoming our best selves. And it can, like, let's just be honest. It can come as a surprise no matter how close you are. And if you're telling me, oh no, like it was not a surprise. It was like an expectation. I just kind of don't believe you. Unless you guys are growing together in the exact same thing. And even still, it would be a little bit different. But that's kind of like what I'm talking about. So, and it is going to annoy people because it's like the same thing as when you start having and enforcing personal boundaries. And I've talked about this before. So you let people know that you now have boundaries. You're like, hey, I have personal boundaries now, guys, just so you know, right? It's kind of like when this is going to be a terrible example that'll annoy some people, but it's kind of as if you were used to just driving down a freeway and you would just go and it'd be no issues, right? You just go down this freeway to get wherever you need to go. A very real example would be when I used to live in Seattle and I would go across the 520 bridge to get into Seattle. I actually lived in different parts of Kirkland or Bellevue. And so I would go from the city across the water, the bridge that's over the water into Seattle. And it'd be like no thing. It was fun. I love driving across that bridge. Come to find out, however many years ago, because we don't live that far north in Washington anymore, that bridge is tolled. So it's like all of a sudden you're driving down a freeway that was free and clear and it was free. It was a free way to get to where you need to go. And now you have to pay a price. You have to pay the toll to get across. And I feel like that's kind of like how having personal boundaries is like now you have to pay the toll. And the toll for personal boundaries is to abide by whatever that person is enforcing or whatever you are enforcing. They will have to pay the toll by abiding in that, right? Was that a good example? Let's hope. Let's hope it was a good example. Let's hope you're still listening right now. So you let people know that you have boundaries and they get all upset because it affects them in a way that no longer allows them to manipulate or overstep their bounds with you. It's either or both, whatever way, right? So they're manipulating you, they're overstepping, they're finding some sort of way to take advantage. It just works for them, right? And they usually feel like it makes their life more difficult. It makes their life harder that now you have boundaries that you're enforcing. You're like, oh my gosh, why is this getting in my way? Why can't I just speed down the freeway? Now I have to stop, or I have to make sure I have a sticker in my window. I have to make sure that I have paid the toll, which again can annoy people. And, and the same thing happens when you start to grow as a person, right? You are changing. You are becoming your best self every single day. You are adopting better habits, better mindsets, behaviors are changing and shifting. Things are looking different. And some people can get really wrapped up in their own selfishness and what they want and be like, oh, this is not going to work for me. Or why are you doing this? Everything was working for everyone. When in reality, it was working well for them because they found a way for it to work well, but it was not working well for you because it was not allowing you to become your best self every single day. So when you start to be someone that people just don't recognize or isn't comfortable for them. Again, so it's they're I don't even know how to deal with this person or how to talk to them or whatever it is, right? They can get annoyed. And maybe not everyone is annoyed. I will totally give you that. But choose your synonym and it's something similar, right? They can get annoyed, they can get mad, they can get frustrated, upset, whatever it is. It's all related. They are annoyed. And they're like, I don't want to do this. Why are you doing this? Why are you changing everything? Because it's good for them and not for you, right? And that can just refeed back into people pleasing if you get caught up in that. And then you're like, okay, I won't change because you don't want me to change in that. And I'm here to please you. But you have to, start to pull away from the people pleasing mindsets and behaviors for you to be able to adopt this mindset of, hey, I'm going to do the things that feel natural to me now that I have grown in my emotional and mental health, right? So the nice part is that some people, luckily, will just accept you for who you're becoming. They're just like, okay, great, awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. That's amazing. Awesome. Cool. You are on the right track for you, right? And that's what we would all want. That's kind of like what some of us secretly expect. And it doesn't happen, unfortunately. But there are some people that will. They'll have your back from day one, from ground zero. And you're like, thank you. Thank you so, so much. But there will be others that will take like an adjustment period, but will come around to acceptance of who you are and who you're becoming, which is great. And I kind of felt like that was what happened with my husband, where, it just took some time to be like, oh, okay, like, you're enforcing these boundaries. Oh, I understand. Okay, great. And I don't think there's anything wrong with a adjustment period. I have overheard conversations and debates on how there shouldn't be an adjustment period for when people provide new information to the people that are closest to them in their life, because apparently we're all just supposed to accept everyone blindly, unconditionally. And, to be honest, I think that it's tough for some people to provide that unconditional love. I believe that, God provides unconditional love no matter what, which is great, fantastic. Like that's like the person to model if we were trying to do that. But we're not perfect people. So we are not going to be able to do it as well as he is. And I do feel like there are a lot of examples and situations where maybe you'd be like, okay, well, what about like a parent and a child for unconditional love? And that's not the go-to because it doesn't always happen. Okay. I am a prime example of that, right? And you might be like, oh, well, you don't know. Your dad might love you like deep down inside despite your problems. Yeah, maybe. But I believe that if that were true, then I would know that, right? Unconditional love is usually known by the person that is being loved on. Okay. So it's really, it's really tough. It's really tough. So I just don't think that everyone can just like jump on board with people's changes just like right away. Because even if, the adjustment period could even take like 5 minutes, or maybe it'll take a day, because not everyone processes things the same way. Not everyone processes things in the same amount of time, right? It might not hit them like what's being different. And I just want you to give some grace to the people that need that adjustment period. I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not as though they're immediately rejecting you and then changing their mind. Maybe some people are doing that. That's fine. But that's not what's happening with generally the people that need an adjustment period. They just need to understand. Like maybe they want to take time to figure out, okay, well, how the heck am I supposed to act now? Or what should I say? Or how can I be as appropriate and respectful as possible? So I'm just telling you to hear me out here. It's okay. If people need like an adjustment period, I think that we should give them that grace, because if they come back and they're like, okay, great, awesome, let's high five, I'm behind you. Awesome, great. Okay, let's just like be grateful. It's not like we're settling. We're just allowing people time to search their heart and be like, oh, okay, this makes sense, right? Okay, anyway, moving on. So yeah, there are going to be people that will just accept you off the bat. There's going to be people that will take an adjustment period, but they will come around. However, unfortunately, there will be people that will pitch a fit as if they were like a toddler and you were telling them they had to take a nap or they couldn't have whatever snack that they weren't supposed to have, right? There will be people that will pitch a fit because you are giving them less access to you. And that usually means more work, more responsibility, more accountability for them. And that's hardly ever welcomed with open arms, right? People don't want to just do more work. People don't want to just suddenly become accountable or responsible for what they're doing and how they're acting when they didn't have to for so long. They might not even know how, right? They might even be that naive to not even know how. But that's the reality of it. So, I'm going to tell you, you're going to get one of these 3 responses in their own way. Acceptance, like immediate acceptance, adjustment period, or like a fit. Like they're just like protesting. They're like, I am not here for this. But there's also one that's kind of like a different one that you could add in as a 4th option. So something else that happens is people will get annoyed with you for growing and changing into a better version of yourself while they are not. While they are not. They are not on the same journey that you are. They are not learning the same kind of things. They are not changing for the better. They have no intention of doing so. They don't care. Or maybe they are, and they just feel like they're not going at the same pace. They're not doing the same things. They don't feel as strong or like whatever it is. It's not the same. They could be jealous of your growth, right? That's definitely an option. Or upset that you will no longer be equals because, they're like, oh my gosh, you're messed up. I messed up. Like, let's do this together, right? And that can be really frustrating. And so, or it could be that, let's see, it could be that they're jealous of your growth, they're upset that you're no longer used, or they may fear that you will get more attention than they will now that you're different. Maybe like they feel like you're better, you're stronger, that, you are just going to all of a sudden be better, and that's going to make them feel less than, and you don't want that, right? Like they don't want that. You don't really care. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you do care. Maybe you don't care. But they don't want you to all of a sudden like jump up this next step, this next echelon level of life and become better than you, or you become better than them. Rather, it's just easier when the playing field is level or they're a little bit above you. Or my favorite, which all relates back to this, is the old classic of misery loves company. Misery loves company. So they don't want anyone else to be happy because they aren't happy, right? So if they aren't happy and they can't change or figure out how to change and become their best selves, and they don't want anyone else to do it either. They're like, no, please do not do that. Okay, they probably don't say please, but they're like, don't do that. No. And they'll maybe throw out like consequences or bad things that'll happen or things that they'll do to you or say mean things because you can't go off and become better than them because who are they going to complain to? Who are they going to just like let it all out to, right? But whatever the reason, obviously it's not helpful. It's not helpful, nor is it something anyone wants to deal with. Like, you don't need someone coming up to you and being like, oh my gosh, why are you changing? Do you think you're better than us? I can't believe that you're trying to be all like bougie, hoity-toity, like blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. Really throwing on that shame, that guilt, trying to gaslight you into thinking that like you don't need it, you're fine as you are, or you won't be accepted if you do change, like all of this bull crap, right, that you don't want to hear. So whatever it is, it's not helpful. It's not helpful at all, right? And the problem is that we will all deal with some of this, though, at some level, because when other people close to us change from their perspective, it usually means we need to change to either accommodate them or move on from the relationship. So, and I'm sure that maybe immediately you're like, oh no, I've never experienced this, Sabrina. But if you reflect back on any time where you did change in any way, then you can notice that people either be like all in or they're like, nope, let me air my grievances because I am not down with this change, right? So either of these, really to be honest and completely transparent with you, either of these like suck for most people. Like it's just lame because it's a level of change we probably weren't expecting. It sucks for us and then it sucks for them. And everyone feels like they're losing because you're becoming different. And that means that you have to not let people down because that's not what you're doing. You just have to deal with the backlash. But it sucks for them because they're not getting that free ride or that, however they're living their life kind of thing like they were before when it was easy, when you weren't different. So let's just go ahead and jump into some mindsets and behaviors that come with emotional growth, but that are likely to annoy people that don't enjoy people changing or becoming their best selves. Because I think we've kind of like gone over the reasons why people would be annoyed and even still why it's important that we push forward with that annoying behavior. So I only have 5 to share with you today. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Oh, before we jump in, got to give my spiel every time. I just want you to know that all the advice and the tips that I am about to give you is based on my knowledge and my research and my own experience and the experiences of others that I'm allowed to share. And if you find that you do not align with anything I'm about to say, I encourage you to seek out a therapist or a counselor to have that one-on-one connection and figure out like what actually would be helpful for you to do moving forward with your own emotional mental health growth. Or if you don't want to do that, then you can go see our best friend, Google, and, kind of type in what are some mindsets and behaviors that demonstrate emotional or mental health growth that some people might be upset by? And, mix around some keywords there. You will find the answer. But let's go ahead and jump into my list. Number 1 is sharing your honest feelings. Yeah, people will be annoyed. If you hadn't been doing this, okay, it's different if this is like the norm for you. Okay, fine. But if this isn't, and that just keep that in mind for this whole list. But if this is not the norm for you, and all of a sudden you start sharing your honest feelings, you start telling people that you don't like something or you do like something, and it ends up being like the opposite or a different viewpoint perspective of the other person or the people in the group, they're going to be like, oh, wait, what? And some people might go as far as to try to convince you that you're wrong, shame you, guilt you, try to put that on you. You can be strong and not accept it. You're like, no way. Because they're just like, well, people don't like things that are different from them, which is really annoying, to be honest, because that's the best way for us to learn and grow and become our best selves. But a lot of people just don't like it. It's tough. So sharing your honest feelings about what they're talking about, doing things in life, ways to live your life, whatever, your own personal core values and beliefs. Just sharing your honest viewpoints and opinions about those things can definitely really annoy other people. But it is a significant demonstration and sign of increased emotional growth and strength, I would say. So sharing your honest feelings. Number 2, creating distance in relationships. So this can go for both romantic and platonic relationships, even at work or volunteer groups or whatever. So if you start to, if it does happen in a romantic one, that's might need to make decisions on what needs to happen. Do you guys need to seek professional help to still stay together? Do you need to break up? What needs to happen? But creating distance in relationships. So if you find that the people that you're spending time with are just not the best people for you to be around, and you want to kind of start spending less time with them, that could cause them to be annoyed, be upset, be hurt. And also, let me take a step back, because I realize by bad old habit, I'm saying that you're causing them to feel this way. You are not. You're not. You're not causing them to feel this way. It's just that they are choosing to feel upset, disappointed, hurt, whatever. They are choosing to feel that way based upon the series of events and experiences they are going through. Okay? Sorry. I just needed to write that because I realized what I was saying goes against everything that I believe and I teach here. So, creating distance. So if you just decide that this is not the best group of people or person for you to spend time with, which is a common suggestion when you are trying to become stronger or, focus on yourself, be more positive, whatever, it's important to really analyze the people that you spend time with. And if you feel like it is not a good environment for you to grow and become your best self and let go of bad or unhelpful or detrimental habits and behaviors and mindsets, you need to distance yourself from them. So it's important that you don't buckle under the pressure. So when you do start to create distance in relationships and people are like, oh my gosh, why aren't you spending time with me? I need you. I will change, blah, blah, blah. You could probably give them a chance if you want to, but I would say don't give them more than 2 chances at the most, because people say they're going to change and then they don't, and then they do it again, then it's just no. You're just you're in this holding pattern of wanting me to just return to who I was, because that makes you feel comfortable and calm and to stay where you are. And that means no extra work for you, right? So creating distance in relationships will cause some friction, right? Because they don't see any faults, but you have examined and discovered that there are faults that you want to avoid. That can cause some issues, but it's so good though, because you got to do what's best for you, and you don't need to spend time with people that you just don't find beneficial in your life. Okay. Number 3 is asserting yourself. So this kind of goes, with like sharing honest feelings and creating distance, like you're asserting yourself, you're standing up for yourself, you're deciding, hey, someone's saying something rude about you, mean, and maybe you used to be super passive because it can often happen with people pleasers or people that just struggle to speak up for themselves. But all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, well now not all of a sudden, you know what I mean? That was being dramatic. But now you've decided that you are going to be assertive and you're going to be direct. And yes, it'll take some like trial and error because sometimes we can come off as maybe a little over the top aggressive and then maybe like too passive and not assertive enough. But we'll figure out the perfect like spot for us. But asserting yourself, really being like, no, I don't believe in that, or no, please don't call me that. That's inappropriate, or no, I do not want to partake in this like situation anymore. You're really standing up for yourself. You're saying, hey, this isn't fair, or hey, this needs to be addressed. This is inappropriate. This, that, or the other. So, really asserting yourself. Definitely going to annoy some people. Definitely going to maybe cause them to not cause them, excuse me. Definitely going to maybe lead to them feeling embarrassed because they decide that you telling them that you don't agree with what they're saying, they will decide to feel embarrassed because it's awkward and unexpected sometimes. So asserting yourself, it's so good. It's so helpful. And it's probably like one of the most exciting things that I find in my personal emotional and mental health journey and growth journey that I'm on. Being able to assert myself just feels so good and powerful. Okay, number 4, making your own decisions. Making your own decisions. I almost like under this one was like, oh yeah, and then like no longer relying on self-validation. But I was like, no, that can be all wrapped up in like making your own decisions. Because a lot of times we need the validation, we need that external validation from people because we are incapable or feel like we're incapable of making our own decisions and we need someone else to back up that decision. And sometimes we can get so wrapped up in needing that, but had already decided on the decision that we want people to choose. So we're living our life through that, cognitive bias. And we're like, okay, we're just going to go find someone that has the same thought that I have so I can just, validate and confirm that that is the right thing. When confirmation bias, not cognitive bias, I apologize, confirmation bias. Like my brain was just like, that's the wrong word. Confirmation bias. So confirmation bias is basically when you are like talking to people about something and you already know the answer that you want. So you go seeking out people that have the same answer as you and you kind of just like self-validate like in that way that's really fake and phony and not true to yourself at all. So, but making your own decisions. People can get really annoyed about this because if they are used to you like relying on them to help them feel validated and make decisions and understand like what needs to happen, and then you no longer do that and you feel confident in your own decisions, they're going to they might feel like you no longer trust them, or they might feel abandoned or lonely or whatever it is. And again, these feelings aren't on you, it's on them. They're deciding to feel this way, but they might have some of those feelings. And so making your own decisions is so important. Again, another way to just feel so powerful to be like, I decided to do this. And even though it may have turned into something that's a failure or had a ton of mistakes and had to be done again or go a different way, you still feel so strong, so good, so happy, so connected to what you're trying to do that you're willing to figure it out again and again and again until you figure it out. So, but making your own decisions definitely will bother people, especially if they're expecting you to rely on them, because that creates strength for them, because they need to be needed, which is a dangerous place to be for them. Okay, number 5, and the last one that I want to share with you is changing your mind. Changing your mind. To be honest with you, I was going to share something in here about no longer caring what other people thought of you or opinions and something like that. And I was like, no, we need something different. We need something different. And that actually could fit into changing your mind, of no longer deciding now, like, okay, no longer do I care about what other people think of me as much. Great. That's a great place to change your mind from the previous one. But when you change your mind, it can really tick people off, because all of a sudden, and they're the ones that feel like it's all of a sudden, not you. Maybe you do. Depends on what's happening. Depends on like how you're growing and moving. But it's just like you decide to change your mind. You're like, oh, you know what? I've spent a lot of time, had experience and like learned more knowledge that I no longer believe and think this, but I believe in this. And that is the shift that I've made. Some people get really annoyed by that because they find that there is this camaraderie and this connection in believing the same things or doing the same things. And so if you decide that you are no longer going to be a part of that because you've changed your mind, this can like, some people might decide to just be like, go off on this because it hurts them. And, they decide to be hurt by this. They decide to feel all these deep emotions and want to project it back onto you and be like, hey, I can't believe you're doing this to me. This is all your fault. You're going to make me feel this, that, and what, which is all a bunch of BS, right? Because they get to choose how they feel. You choose how you feel, right? And so it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to go a different way. It's okay to just be in the middle of something and you feel like you've tried enough and you just can't get to the end and you're just like, this is too much. Okay, let go and move on. Move forward. Don't let yourself continue to just sit there in misery longer than you have to. Change your mind. I think it's amazing when people learn new information and they are bold and courageous enough to change their mind, knowing that they'll get so much crap from other people for doing so. It's okay to change. Change is good. Sometimes I struggle with change myself, but I have to remind myself, it's really good. It's fantastic. It's fan-freaking-tastic. So changing your mind will definitely annoy people, but it's an amazing mindset and behavior to have. I promise you. But that's all 5 that I have to share with you today for some mindsets and behaviors that come with emotional growth that might also annoy some people. So hopefully that has helped. And if you feel like it was helpful, maybe you can share it with someone else because I appreciate every single one of you listening, downloading, and sharing the show. It is so, so appreciated. But thank you so much for listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. Again, with me, Sabrina. Don't forget to check out the show notes below for signing up for the weekly newsletter, coming to say hi to me on TikTok and Instagram, sending me an email, buying a journal. I think there's a couple surveys down there that are anonymous, like Google Forms. Check all of that out. Hopefully I get to talk to you soon. But until next time, have a good one, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.